and I'll call this meeting to order at this time. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'd like to welcome everyone to the planning meeting for the Augusta Community Garden. It's hard to believe that we came out of temperatures so cold and got to be so nice. So let's hope it doesn't get real cold again, at least not for any length of time, because we have gardening we want to do. So at this point, I would like to welcome everybody here, and I would like to recognize the members of the Augusta Community Garden Board. I think most of them are here. President Monica Williams and myself, Eric Burke, Alan Milbrat, who's hosting the meeting. Thank you, Alan. Brian Alfaro, who's our city liaison, head of the park department. Bryce Westfall, and I don't believe Mark Wagner is on here. So at any rate, welcome to all of you. At this time, please note that if you want to have a question or chat, use the raise your hand feature and we'll try to address your questions. And we'll see that everybody gets time to do that. So we're going to go ahead with the brief history of the garden, and I'll turn it over to Monica for a little history lesson. Are you there, Monica?
Yeah, I had to get it off of mute. My space bar didn't work like it was supposed to. So, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. I was assigned the duty of giving you a little history. So, in 2014, a few of us started the process of going to the City Council and the Parks Department Board and requesting support and space to start a community garden. In fall of 2015, we were given that approval and the space at 14th and Ohio, which is where we're at now. In 2016, that spring, we went ahead and started the communal garden. There was just a few of us who were involved, but we were all very determined. So we had a small production that year, but we did produce some. Sorry, my dog's barking in the background. 2017, 2018 was when the Ohio Street project was going on. So that kind of minimized our visibility and access. And at the time, we had to wait until they were almost completely done with that project in order to get full water access across the garden. So that kind of limited our ability to grow into the community portion of it at that time. We are a dual purpose garden. So we have a communal side, which is on the south side of the drive as you're coming in off of Ohio. And that's specifically for donating produce to those who are needy or poor or other nonprofit organizations. And then on the north side of the drive is the community portion of the garden, which is basically they're designed for community members who don't have the space to garden or who want to just do it with others, could come in and use a bed, rent a bed, and use it for the growing season. Let's see, and then but during that time, we also did still have better production from last year, so we continued to grow in what we were able to donate. And then in 2019, we had finally gotten water access across all of the garden, and the master gardeners really joined in, and they made a significant difference in how the direction of the garden went that year, and hopefully how it continues to.
So short discussion. What is your vision for the garden? And Monica kind of gave a nice overview of where we started and kind of where we're going. We've had some pitfalls along the way with different things that were beyond our control, especially COVID. But we have had some successes, and she mentioned a good vision of educational types of things and hands-on types of things. And being a former teacher, that's kind of what I'm into as well. But I'd like to bring in Bryce Westfall, to kind of get a little discussion started. Bryce is going to tell us about his experience at the Augusta Middle School. Bryce, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All yours.
All right. I'm going to introduce myself first because most people probably don't know me. My name is Bryce Westfall. I'm an 8th grade science teacher at Augusta Middle School. And the last 2 years, we have actually been trying to develop a garden at the middle school. Last year, before COVID hit, we were able to get 10 raised garden beds placed, but we obviously, once we were quarantined, we didn't get them filled and we didn't get anything planted. So now our goal this year is to actually get some of those gardens running and going in the spring semester, excuse me, in the spring semester, when we actually teach about plants and diversity of living things. So we're developing a garden program here at the middle school, but I also wanted to extend that program out to the community, specifically during the summer months when kids maybe need an avenue to go to, especially if they might have a rough household that they need to get away from time to time. And I've learned with some of my behavioral students that gardening is actually a great avenue for them to relieve a lot of that stress and anxiety that they've been given because of the environment they've been raised in. So my vision was not only to give them an avenue to go to, but to extend off of the learning that we did during the spring semester over the plant life cycle. So my idea was to have either them volunteer or have a specific space in the community garden to where they can learn from some of the master gardeners, various techniques, various different types of curriculum that all revolve around stuff that they've learned and will progress some of that knowledge into gardening. So I've been talking obviously with the entire Augusta Community Garden Committee and starting to figure out what we can actually provide students at the community gardens with. And so I think we've got a lot of the vision and goals knocked out to where we are going to be available to provide them with possibly one raised garden bed, and then maybe the opportunity to volunteer and help with some of the other beds with the master gardeners over the summer and with specific programs that we can teach them. We don't really know numbers wise what we're looking at, but I think year to year, if more and more students start to hear about this opportunity, we'll probably get a little bit better of a turnout than year 1 and 2. So year 1 and 2 is going to be maybe more of a trial run, but hopefully the excitement and the learning is going to bring more and more students to the gardens. Patrick, do you have anything you want to extend off of that?
Oh, it sounded good, Bryce. Real good. Does anybody else have anything that they'd like to offer as far as a vision for the garden? Anybody? Jerry Long, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. You have something you want to say?
Well, I've just been listening. I really didn't anticipate saying
Okay.
much. I was just thinking in terms of what I can do to back you up, and certainly feel reassured that the master gardeners are behind you in whatever you choose to do.
That's good to hear. Anyone else?
Can I throw in one more thing?
Sure, go ahead, Bryce.
And specifically talking about the students who might have a bad home life or just a non-ideal environment they're growing up in. Another idea with the donated food is typically in those environments, the food availability isn't as great. So some of those donations would most likely go towards those students' families in hopes of improving some of that environment. And with the middle school gardens specifically, all of that produce will be donated to either staff or students as it becomes available.
Okay, that's good. All of our harvest that's produced out of the demonstration beds, of course, is donated to community causes, mostly the senior center, the community caring center, and I don't remember, Bright Futures changed its name now, but a lot of it, some of it went to the Bright Futures, what used to be the Bright Futures program as well. So all of our things are donated. Our labors are labors of love. So we want to keep doing that and be a positive, inspirational, educational force in the community. Okay, if no one else has a vision that they want to share, I'll turn it over to Eric and Monica to talk about the rental beds.
All right. Basically on the rental beds, there's a $10 deposit to reserve a bed. If you do reserve a bed, we do ask that you volunteer a couple hours a month in the communal garden to weed and water, such as that. There will be a rule sheet that you assign to, say you pledge to obey all garden rules. Then at the end of the year, if you leave your bed clean, if you clean up all your plants and stuff after the end of the season, we will give you your deposit back. At this time, we do keep the garden locked when Brian is not working at the parks office next door. But if you do want a key, there's a $5 deposit for a key. Then you can get a key so you can come and go as you please. We have several beds now that are ready to go. Some still need some dirt, so we're going to be working this spring to get more dirt in them and also build some more beds. I think there's maybe 10 to a dozen beds right now. I can't remember exactly how many it's been since the fall since I've been to the garden. So that's the basics of it.
Alan, do you want to pull up the JPEG of the garden design? When we went to the city and we did our request, we created this, Alan actually created this layout for us of what we envisioned the garden to look like. As you see on the south side of that drive, we're at the bottom. Those are the communal beds, the big ones. And then the small ones off to the side of that are the demonstration and perennial bed. Then over on the north side is the community beds, with the largest bed being on the west side, was specifically made for schools to use if they so chose. So our goal in that, we've had this vision along with what Bryce is going with now. And so it's like a dream come true for me that the schools are getting involved, because I was a school nurse in Augusta. And so that's kind of where my personal drive came from, was just watching how the school nutrition guidelines were being changed and how kids were, being diagnosed with ADHD because they were tired of sitting in their seats after about 20 minutes, and, just the overall health of everybody. And so, yeah, I'm very grateful that we are where we're at. And I really do believe that, with love and determination, we can make something great out of this. So I appreciate y'all.
Okay. Anyone have any questions so far about the rental beds or anything we've covered so far? I haven't seen any hands go up. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the planning dates, and the community garden board has approved the dates as follows. We're going to be planting potatoes March the 18th at 10 a.m. and a rain date of March the 21st at 2 p.m.
Sorry to
We'll be
interrupt. Alan, do you have that schedule somewhere on here? Sorry, Patrick, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I thought
No,
it
that's okay. Go ahead.
might be helpful if somebody could see it.
Alan,
Okay.
do you have that visual?
I do not have a visual on the dates. They'll be
Okay.
posted on Facebook, however, when we get closer, so.
Thanks.
Okay. Cool season, by the way, March the 19th, I'm sorry, the 18th is a Thursday and the rain date is a Sunday afternoon. For the cool season plannings, April the can't even read my own writing. April the 20th, which is a Tuesday at 10 in the morning. And the rain date, April the 23rd, which is a Friday, also at 10 in the morning. And for the warm season planning, provided that we have warm season things like tomatoes to plant, and I've been assured that we will. Those dates are May the 7th, which is a Friday at 10 a.m. And May the 11th will be the rain date. That's the following Tuesday, also at 10 a.m. So I've been assured by Charlene Miller, Director of the Extension in El Dorado, that we will have tomatoes supplied from K-State, and we're going to have to do some reports on those. So we've got to be a little more careful in our planting and our care of those tomatoes. Every year at the fair, the county fair, we have a taste test. I shouldn't say every year because we haven't had it for a couple of years now, but the tomatoes that are grown for the taste test are like 7 different varieties, and you can come along and taste each one and cast your vote for whichever one you think tastes the best. So I believe some of our tomatoes may be accounted for with the taste test at the county fair. We'll just have to see. That's something we have to work on with the extension. So those are the planning dates. And like Alan said, he'll post those on Facebook so that anybody can refer to those. And while we're at it, the Facebook page has changed its name. It's now the Augusta, Kansas Community Garden. That's to distinguish us from every other Augusta in the world that has a community garden. Anything on the planning dates, anybody? Okay. I was going to leave Charlene a little time to say a few words here, but basically what I've gleaned from our master gardener meetings is that our horde agent, Larry Krause, retired last fall, and they've not budgeted for a full-time position to replace him. And in the meantime, they're looking at perhaps hiring a part-time person. They haven't had anybody that really qualifies this time. So we're kind of on our own as far as the garden. Charlene will, and the staff at the extension will help us as needed, but we're kind of on our own to do our own thing. And Charlene is going to work with the Master Gardener group on some educational things, and we do have some meetings planned for that. We already had one, and I believe there's one planned for early in March. So we will be working on those kind of things with the extension. And the other thing that, for those of you that are master gardeners, know, Larry used to pass around a hard copy calendar, and he'd ask everybody to sign up for 2 weeks to work at the garden. Not necessarily 2 consecutive weeks, maybe a week now and a week later on. Everybody was asked to sign up for 2-week periods, and that would repay a part of your community service education work as a payment for your Master Gardener class. So once again, we're asking not only Master Gardeners, but community members as well to sign up. And I'm going to ask Alan to explain what he's got up there as far as the sign up page.
Okay. Basically, I've been concentrating on the Master Gardeners. So I've got created this form in Google Forms, and I believe I got most of the Master Gardeners' email addresses. So I'm going to send this form to all the Master Gardeners. And so basically you put in your email address, your full name, your phone number, and then you pick 2 of the week. These are week-long sections. So you pick 2 of those that you could do some volunteer within that time period. And there's another piece there where you can leave comments. Then we'll bring all that back to a spreadsheet and see how many conflicts we have with, 8 people wanting to do it the same week or something. And that we run into those kinds of things. We'll just handle that with emails and stuff and see if we can resolve some of those issues. So, but basically we're going to use that format, or going to try that format to get people to sign up for different weeks to volunteer in the garden. So, and then as far as other people wanting to volunteer, we'll put a deal on Facebook that they can message us on Facebook if they want to volunteer at the garden. So, and just work through it that way. So,
The volunteers are needed in the garden from approximately, what did I say, Alan, the 1st of April?
we've got April 18th starting and ending on
April 18th, okay.
So
Going through Labor Day, okay. So it's not like you're committed for year round. It'll be basically growing season. And the maintenance will include watering, weeding, harvesting, general upkeep of things that need to be done around the garden. No heavy lifting. I suppose you could if you wanted to, but we don't expect anybody to do any mowing or string trimming. Brian takes care of all that, and we appreciate the city's help with that. So please sign up. I think I already have, but I'll be available all the time. Most of the time, I should say. Qualify that. Okay. Anybody have any comments about the maintenance schedule?
Patrick, this is Jerry.
Yes, sure.
If you sign up for a particular week and you go, is there a schedule and what needs to be done somewhere? Or should they check with somebody so they'll know if they need to pull weeds or hoe or plant?
Well, since we don't have a garden manager, most of that's kind of fallen to me, but yes, I will direct on what needs to be done, and I will expect the support of the board and letting me know what needs to be done, board and other volunteers. So yes, good point, Jerry. So yes, there will be direction.
And I have one other question, if you'll allow me.
Please.
Do you need seeds or potatoes? I guess you got tomatoes, but is there anything else you'll need for the garden that I can help get the word out and maybe we can get somebody to contribute?
Alan, you want to take that one? Or Eric?
I'll say something. If you can get potato starts, that'd save us from the expense of having to get them.
We have a agreement with the local Ace Hardware. The manager down there, the owner, is a former master gardener in Sedgwick County. and she's been very supportive of the garden. It gives us good deals on just about everything you could think of. But donations are always appreciated. Like I said, Charlene is arranging for the tomatoes and the seeds that Larry used to get for us from K-State. My plan was to go ahead and purchase the tomatoes when they are potatoes when they become available from our local Ace Hardware. But if somebody can get a donation for them, that's fine with me. We really need donations of tools and materials. I know we've talked a long time about some wheelbarrows. So those are the kind of things, and hand tools. For those that are having their rental plots, we expect them to bring their own tools. But for the most part, if you're working in the demo garden or volunteering in the demo garden, we have some tools and not a whole lot of fancy tools, but we're in pretty fair shape as far as small tools, but we can always use donations. You want to add anything to that, Monica?
No, I think that covers it. I mean, we'll always take donations. Obviously, we don't have a huge bank account or anything.
Right. More questions on the maintenance and planting? Anyone? Okay. Next thing on the agenda, the last thing basically is that we are working under Butler County COVID protocols. I'm informed by Eric, the city does not have specific protocols, but Butler County does, and Charlene has admonished us that we need to adhere to those as far as being a part of the extension and being a part of Butler County. So Monica's put together a graphic here for us. Go ahead, Monica.
Well, I just put this together. This is following the CDC guidelines, which is kind of what everybody should be following. And it's, kind of self-explanatory. The biggest thing for everybody to know is that if you're in the garden, then you need to be wearing a mask. We don't have a hand washing station, so we suggest that you bring some wipes or some hand sanitizer with you, maybe an extra mask in case yours gets dirty or soiled or something like that. Keep your distance from others, obviously, whenever you're at the garden. If you feel sick, don't show up. I mean, it's kind of all the basics that everybody already knows. Just kind of follow those same protocols and allowances for everybody. Take care of one another. So, but there they are.
Brian, you have some buckets over there. Do you have some buckets that we could use for hand washing buckets?
No, I usually get those when the pool opens up. So I don't have any
Okay.
buckets in there now.
But you can save us some buckets that we could use, and since we have running water now, we could, people could bring hand soap or dish soap or whatever to use to wash your hands in those buckets.
Yeah, it'll be May before I get any more. So
Oh, okay. Well, that would be good. Okay. Anyone else have anything to contribute at this time? Okay. Our next Augusta Community Garden Board meeting will be Wednesday, March the 17th. Everyone is invited to attend. It'll be a Zoom meeting again, and Alan will send a link out to everybody. And you're all welcome to attend, and we welcome your input. That'll be the night before we plant potatoes, hopefully. So we'll see where that takes us. Please put out the word to the community that we are looking for volunteers. We are renting beds. If they're interested. And Monica and Eric, I guess, will be the point people for rental agreement. And I'll take care of the maintenance and the volunteer scheduling. Alan and I will. Okay. Is there anything else to contribute for the good of the group? All right, if not, thank you all for coming tonight. Please put out the word that we're going to have a garden this year. And we welcome everybody to come and volunteer with us. Thank you all for being here.